So Bitcoin will be, this is the year where something goes that hockey stick move, and you go from 150 million users to 2 or 3 billion users in a pretty compressed amount of time. Bitcoin now has 90% of all the volume of all these. It's between three top coins with Bitcoin dominating. They have 90% of the volume. So the daily volume in the other 5,000 coins is so minuscule.
Winter has come for Bitcoin, and this could take months, maybe years to shake off.
It's not going to take years. Look, I mean, Warren Buffett famously says over and over again, that he loves down markets. He's done his research. He knows what the values are, and he loves it when markets are down. He loves it when markets crash because he can buy what he wants on sale.
So
it's very strange in the investment business. Peter Lynch talks about this in his books, and has many that typically people who buy stocks. They don't seem to understand that if the price is cheaper, you're getting good value for something. But they understand it if they went to their local grocery store or their hardware store and they saw hammers on sale, 50% off. They'd be like, wow, I got the same hammer for 50% off. I'm buying it. Well, here you got Bitcoin, which is on sale right now. It's the greatest monetary network in the world. The adoption of Bitcoin right now at 150 million users or so is about where the internet was in 1997. Now, I was on doing a .com in the 90s, and 1997 is right when Netscape went public, and you had the whole explosion of the internet as we know it today. It hinged really on that key year, 1997. So I think in 2021 it's similar to 1997 for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin will be this is the year where something goes that hockey stick move, and you go from 150 million users to 2 or 3 billion users in a pretty compressed amount of time. In El Salvador, the #1 finance app is Lightning Strike from Zap, from Jack Mahler's company, and it's the #1 app in the entire country. He's signing on 20,000 users a day in El Salvador to be on Lightning Network, which is Bitcoin essentially. That means that within a year, the entire country will be on Bitcoin within a year. And then that's spreading to Guatemala, and it's spreading to Paraguay. It's spreading all over the region to 100 million people into Mexico, right? So why would you not want to own that? If you had a chance to buy the internet in 1997, when only 150 million people were using it, and somebody said, hey, for $35,000, an option here, a share, you can own a piece of what will become the dominant communications network of the globe. Would you pass up on that deal? No. Same thing with Bitcoin. Why would you not own it at this price? Because the $500,000, $600,000 price is baked into the cake at this point. There's virtually no bear case. I believe that we're at the end game, and that this money printing is going to fail to keep the genie in the bottle, and we're going to see inflation happen for real. So I'm going to put my money to work in a way that essentially takes the counter position to what the Fed is doing. And I looked at gold, I looked at Bitcoin, and I did crunch the numbers, and I decided that Bitcoin was the harder money of the two. It had the greatest upside of the two. As Paul Tudor Jones called it, it's the fastest horse in the race, right? Paul Tudor Jones came up with the exact same conclusion 6 months ago and went long Bitcoin. He put 1% of his portfolio in Bitcoin. So a lot of the smart money, Ray Dalio is putting a big percentage of his money into gold, right? So he sees inflation coming. A lot of money managers, you see Warren Buffett is got a stake in a gold mine, Barrick Gold. He's also diversifying out of the dollar by putting a lot of money into Japan. That would indicate he's less sanguine about the future of the dollar, right? So that's inflationary right there, potentially. So a lot of the big guns are moving, reestablishing new positions anti-US dollar. He dumped a lot of bank stocks. He got completely out of Wells Fargo. He's got maybe some Bank of America left, but they bought Merrill Lynch, and I think Merrill Lynch is capitalizing on this day trading craze. You see the Robinhood traders and all that other stuff. So I think the revenues, I haven't looked at those numbers, but that's probably why he still has a piece of that. But on balance, he would appear to be dumping bank stocks, which has been his bread and butter for decades. He's been really heavy into bank stocks, and American financial stocks has really been a core investment for him. Those have been dumped. He started nibbling at Barrick with a position in GOLD, gold. That's the symbol, right? And taking Bitcoin. They're gobbling up that Bitcoin. We're going to enter a Bitcoin shortage. So a couple of things we haven't seen, we're going to see in 2021. We're going to see gap pricing. In terms of price discovery. So, okay, it's 36, 37,000. You know, once you get above 40,000, that panic buying from institutions comes in. You could see 42,000, and then the next print be 44,000. This will be the high of the year. If you look historically to how the Bitcoin's traded versus the halvings and the demand and the difficulty adjustment and the mining industry and the acceleration of the technology in the mining industry and how efficient miners are, the cost of electricity, right? That's also a factor in this calculation.
The central bank that's going to close, shut down, blow up.
Right. So let's see. Well, the candidates are Bank of Japan, Bank of England, Federal Reserve Bank, European Central Bank. Probably the bank that is in the deepest quagmire of problems would be the ECB. I think the ECB will be dissolved and something will take its place. And they won't call it a crash necessarily. I think the ECB bank is going to be probably, let's call it they're going to get dissolved in 2021. And it's going to be replaced with some other facility. Like they could say, oh, we're going to do we're going to do 100 trillion credit facility with special drawing rights from the IMF, our friend Christine Lagarde, and the ECB are going to get back together again, get the band back together again. They're going to try to bail out the Eurozone, but they're going to have to dissolve the ECB first.
So they're going to market it like a rebrand?
Yeah. It's going to be, they're going to market it as a rebrand, a restart, a reset. They're going to call it a reset or a new Bretton Woods. Okay. So we've heard those terms already, right? A new Bretton Woods and a reset. So as part of that Bretton Woods / reset, they're going to come out of that meeting and say, here it is. And by the way, one of these banks, these central banks had to be dissolved. Exactly like in 2008 when Lehman Brothers and Bear Stearns had to be sacrificed. They got into a room and Dick Fuld over there at Lehman Brothers was taken out back and shot in the head, right? And said, you've got to sacrifice. You've got to give all your assets to Jamie Dimon today or the country goes into receivership, Dick Fuld. Take one for the team, buddy.